Hello, well no, have an I and a Y, because you listen to Mission Nutrition, presenting the new vision for nutrition, although nothing is new, more like the opposite. Let's stay here on top of it. Alright, so in this video we'll discuss the so-called vitamin B12, the big bad B12, also known as cobalamin, or cobalt. I'll get further into what I'm talking about here. But anyway, in these videos of mine, in which I discuss these different nutrients, I discuss their main functions and sources of highest quality available to us. So when it comes to B12, well, its functions is, it's basically critical for damn near all aspects of health. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but as I've understood it, especially to keep a healthy nervous system, which is very vital. So we don't need much of this vitamin B12, cobalamin. There's very small amounts of it that we need, but the little we do need is very vital. And when it comes to sources of highest quality available to us, well, how do I say, like, where I come from, like, my standpoint, or like my perspective, I have my own perspective, but my perspective is influenced by the teachings of Dr. Sebi. Rest in peace, by the way. And so, well, you've already read the opening, the intro for this video. So yeah, it's true that Dr. Sebi didn't really put any emphasis on vitamins like that. However, he did recognize B12. But according to Dr. Sebi, B12 or cobalamin, the word cobalamin derives from cobalt, which is a mineral. And whether that's true or not, I can't say for sure, but it would make sense because vitamin B12 is actually extremely heat resistant, unlike certain other vitamins, but more like minerals. Minerals are very heat resistant. So yeah, it could be very true. But so yeah, anyway, these the sources of highest quality, and especially when it comes to what's approved by Dr. Sebi, it's basically, yeah, it's soil, yeah, earth, dirt. That's where vitamin B12 naturally is found. And it's said that it's formed and synthesized by certain bacteria found in the soil. And yeah, this bacteria synthesize this cobalamin that contain trace amounts of cobalt. And I want to mention also, other sources that it's certain seaweeds or sea vegetables or algae contain some amounts of B12, it said. However, that is not very high, as I've understood it. So it's not to rely upon. We shouldn't rely on those sources solely for B12. And also it said that certain fermented foods, which I know, or I'm pretty sure fermented foods is not recommended by Dr. Sebi, just to make that clear. But yeah, it said that some fermented foods contain B12. But yeah, I don't know. What I do know is that if that's true, it's also not enough. It's not sufficient enough to rely upon. But so the thing is also, like, let's say from an evolutionary perspective, or first of all, yeah, maybe, I mean, although it's getting outdated, but you probably heard that you might be familiar with like how many say you need to eat animal products like meat, dairy, eggs, what have you, in order to get vitamin B12. And those products, yeah, they contain B12, but it's not where it comes from. It comes from the soil. And these, so where the animals mainly get the B12 from is, especially if it's wild animals, they get it from eating, straight from like eating plants and wild plants and shit, so they get that B12 because they're so down to earth and more dirty like that, but not dirty in a bad way. And so what I'm saying is, from an evolutionary perspective, we used to be more dirty as well. We were more down to earth. We used to be in contact with the earth all the time. And we have like pores and like receptors or whatever, on our skin. So I believe we also like absorb some of the small amounts of B12 we actually need from our skins. That's just my own perspective. And also, like having some dirt under our nails, for instance, because we're very sensitive under our nails. So yeah, and I know that's like good for our immunity to have some dirt under our nails, and I believe we also can absorb some of that cobalamin from under our nails. But let me also then say that for the ladies, or anyone really for that matter, especially in this day and age, like if you're like having nail polish, like be careful so you don't get any of that nail polish under your nails, because we're very sensitive, as I just said, and that can, yeah, it's toxic basically. Also, if you're like having these, lottery tickets, if you're like scrapping lottery tickets, like make sure to use a coin, because that's toxic material and you don't want to use your nails for that. I learned from my best friend, actually. Shout out to OG Felice. And so well, also, yeah, because I want to cover, because there's so much talk going on about this vitamin B12, cobalamin or cobalt. Another thing that said is that we do. It said that we do form, like we have these bacteria these bacteria that synthesize form B12 in our intestines, in our guts. But it's also said that we don't really absorb that B12 from our intestines because it's below the, what's it called, English is my second language, but it's like below the intestinal tract where when we eat and it goes through that part. I should know that, but because I'm also Virgo, and Virgo, that is what Virgo rules, mainly where nutrition is being digested or like distributed from. But anyway, it's below that, so it said that we don't absorb that B12 from our intestines. But I would like to really question that, because when I was a kid, I know I still look like a kid, but I'm much older than what you would think I am. That's just because I'm so damn healthy. It's also genetics. Like both of my parents, they both look quite young for their age, but it's also because I keep my health in check. But anyway, when I was an actual kid, and not only looked like a kid, when I actually was a kid, I remember, this was long ago, but I remember it well because I hated it. And I believe many others are familiar with this too. There were certain pills that basically was put up our asses. yeah, and that's, I mean, and why is that? Because from our rectum and our like lower intestines, it's like it gets absorbed very quickly and easily, as I've understood. That's why it's taken that way, and it works with other ways also. Like I believe you can get very intoxicated uh, from that end, so to say, and so it just, I mean, if we have a healthy gut, let's say, if we're not full of all that mucus and shit, if we have a healthy gut, healthy intestines, then the B12 that is formed there should be absorbed from there also. If we don't, that's probably because we have an unhealthy gut flora or whatever in general. So yeah, I think I've covered what I wanted to say now. So if anything else, I might make a part 2 or add some information in the end of this video. But I think that's it. So yeah, that's my that's just my own 2 cents or whatever you say when it comes to this topic, that it is a big topic. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I believe that's how people say in English. So yeah, whatever the case may be, do what works for you and makes you feel good and alive. I know what works for me. So, and now I've shared, yeah, my perspective. Or wait a second. No, I think I forgot. Yeah, I want to mention also, like I personally, although this is also not like recommended by Dr. Sebi, I believe, but I use methylcobalamin supplement like 3 times a week, just to be on the safe side. I mean, it's what I use and I feel great, and yeah, I just wanted to add that as well, but now I believe I'm done. So yeah, that's all for now. You take care and you stay blessed and nurtured. Peace.